there is a interesting analogy, but on a side in which I don't want her to be swayed. And that is in what the Biden administration has done in antitrust. Mentioned this the other day, I guess when we were talking, when we were interviewing, who was it Elizabeth Pancotti from the Roosevelt Institute or Forward, whichever the 503
Roosevelt Forward,
Roosevelt Forward. That we were talking about, where is she going to land on her economic proposals? We have a better idea of that, but we don't necessarily know where she's going to land in terms of antitrust. And here is a couple of clips that indicate, at the very least, she's getting pushed by, on one hand, Harris is getting pushed by folks who are against genocide, who are against open air prisons and ethnic cleansing and killing of tens of thousands of children. And on one side, she's getting pressure in that way. On another side, on like a big money and corporations and donors, she's getting pressured to roll back and undermine the antitrust gains that have been made at the FTC with Lina Khan. Here is from yesterday, CNN's Matt Egan on with Reid Hoffman, who is the LinkedIn co-founder, apparently giving $7 million to Harris.
And there was one donor who was quoted in the New York Times piece about this, who said that they think, like, essentially, she'll dump Lina Khan, and it was the quote. The source was one major Democratic donor. I don't know this for a fact.
This is the point. We don't know what she's going to do.
We don't know, but it could be him. Yeah.
Trump wants tariffs, which is anti-business. Makes this a very strange election indeed, because I think actually Vice President Harris is much more of the pro-business candidate than Trump and Vance.
But Vice President Harris, she wants to raise the corporate tax rate. The Harris-Biden administration, or Biden-Harris administration, has in fact imposed tariffs. So aren't there some anti-business concerns there as well?
I think what's most important for business is stability of a country, unity, rule of law. And, a percent difference in corporate tax, or 2% or 3% difference in corporate tax, is far, far less important.
Now, the Trump campaign, of course, has argued otherwise, saying that former President Trump is the one that's going to put more money in the pockets of American families, and blaming the Biden-Harris administration for the high cost of living. Now, even Reid Hoffman conceded that he's not thrilled with all parts of the Biden administration. In particular, he strongly criticized Lina Khan, the FTC chair. He said that Lina Khan is, quote, waging war on American business. And he went so far as to say that he hopes that a President Harris would replace Lina Khan at the FTC. Now, the agency pushed back, telling CNN in a statement that Chair Khan is honored to work in this administration, where she has worked to protect consumers, workers, and entrepreneurs from corporate abuses. And it's worth remembering that Lina Khan, she's won some fans on the left for her efforts to fight monopolies, to try to push back against the big oil and big tech. And interestingly enough, she even has a fan on the
Republican side. I think he was about to say, there's that guy weirdly also speaks like he's on an Instagram video. But this is an attempt by the sort of the corporate interests on the Democratic side of things to influence Harris and to sort of like lay down a gauntlet, do these sort of like vague passive aggressive threats on some level, tied in with somebody who's got the $7 million and whatnot. And, we'll see what happens here. They know, or they think that they know, that she's pushable on this. Does that mean that they're going to succeed? No. I mean, this is like the same dynamic I think that we're in terms of Gaza and the Biden administration's policies. In fact, I'm not convinced that that Elizabeth Warren's coming out early in this process and endorsing her when there was still talk of like some type of mini primary wasn't a function of her trying to get there first and make sure that she's in Harris's ear and maintaining, if not building upon the gains that Warren sort of like part of the party looking for antitrust is not carried forward. Here's IAC Chairman Barry Diller talking to Andrew Sorkin on CNBC. This is all coming from the business press. As to what he would do in terms of lobbying Harris.
This is how you have
but everybody flip-flops because conditions change. You run in the primary to the left or to the right in order to get it. Then when you get the nomination, you cove towards the center, which is sensible to do. It's all pragmatic.
Pause it for 1 second. Let me also just weigh in on this. This is not so relevant to this, but this conventional wisdom is not really the case as much as it used to be. Joe Biden, when he was in trouble, when he was facing calls to be pushed out, he did not tack to the center, folks. He came out and said 5% cap on rent. He came out and said expansion of Medicaid and Medicare. He came out and said
canceling medical debt.
These are attacks to the left, not to the attack to the center. And clearly this was him in the, he's in the general election mode, although it turned out he wasn't in any mode.
Well, he was oddly in the prime. That's what we were saying is part of the frustration was he was in a fight for his life for the Democratic nomination, and that's why he was pulling all that out. Harris now is actually in the general election, so it'll be fascinating to see without abilities to kind of influence her throughout a long, protracted primary process, who gets their way.
When you get the nomination, you cove towards the center, which is sensible to do. It's all pragmatic. There's no, let's not talk about honesty in these contexts.
But there have been reports that a number of prominent Democrats have been lobbying Harris to drop people like Lina Khan. Do you think that that's going to happen? And would you lobby for that?
Yeah, I would.
You would?
Yeah, I think she's a dope.
Well,
of course you do.
There you go.
Well, and to your point about Warren, I mean, Lina Khan is the chair of the FTC because of Elizabeth Warren. Because Elizabeth Warren endorsed Biden and dropped out and was a part of that coalescence of candidates that dropped out to defeat Bernie Sanders. I think those were some of her asks, right? So if she's as close with with Harris as she says she is, perhaps she's an influence on the other side. But the stuff about Harris that's going to be the most, I think, problematic and stuff to watch for is her relationship to antitrust. She's going to be a bit more of an Obama type, closer with Silicon Valley than perhaps Biden is. Maybe less willing to be an antitrust, break up big business type of person. And it might just be a little bit more, and she's probably closer with Wall Street than Biden has been, at least over the past 4 years. So those are the pressure points they're going to try to push. But it remains to be seen if, what the end result is of that pushing, in the same way with the Gaza policy as well.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.